From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Cummins.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
And Corey Clark.
Go.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Cummins. Coming up on today's show, jam-packed hoops, baseball, softball, track. Stay till the end. We'll reward you with football. Wake Up Warchant presented by Cummins. CumminsLifestyle. Follow that on Instagram. Get involved over at warchant.com. Post your questions in the Renegade Express mailbag. Best question featured in a video. Cool. Gets entered into a monthly drawing for a gift bag from Cummins. Pretty cool. And then get entered into an end of off-season drawing for the ultimate tailgate giveaway. Completely, totally, utterly cool. Do it, everybody. Subscribe to warchant.com so you can get involved, get that tailgate. You pick the home game of your choice for the 2026 season. Cummins and warchant.com will take care of the rest, quite literally. Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source, in case you forgot. Subscribe, thumbs up, rate, review, tell a friend, tell two. And let them know that Corey Clark's in the house as well. Joining us from northern Atlanta. Do people call Atlanta northern, like northern Georgia? Did I say northern Atlanta?
You did, yeah.
Well, I ruined that entire segue. Open up. I'll stop talking now. Corey, what's up, man?
There is North Georgia. We call it North Georgia. No, I don't think there's anybody that says North Atlanta or northern Atlanta, really.
Yeah.
You're either inside the perimeter or outside the perimeter, and I am outside the perimeter.
Is Atlanta?
But I was inside the perimeter on Saturday for the Florida State basketball game.
Is Atlanta considered North Georgia?
No, not really. I mean, I guess it is in the northern part of the state, but no, it's just Atlanta, I guess.
Okay.
Me anyway, I would not consider it North Georgia. I consider North Georgia like the mountains.
Right.
Yeah, Dahlonega and Ellijay and places like that, not Atlanta.
You dropped Dahlonega. Did you watch that show on Netflix?
Was there a Dahlonega show?
Dude, there was a show about a murder. It's a drama. It's a drama. It's not based on a true story or anything, but it's about these murders that keep happening in Dahlonega.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
The only Dahlonega is known for gold, although it wasn't quite the gold rush of the one in the. So I remember as a kid we'd go there and pan for gold because apparently there used to be gold in Dahlonega. That and then my ex-wife Shanna, Brady's mom, grew up in South Florida, so she would have no idea. The first time she tried to pronounce it was Dahlonega.
It's a tough one.
I'll never forget till the day I die. It was just awesome. She's like, because she worked at a hotel. She was like the front desk person at a hotel when she was like 21, which is way too dangerous a job, especially it was just way too dangerous a job. But she's like, oh, yeah, I had somebody check in today from Dahlonega.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Yeah. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I was in Atlanta in the northern part of Georgia on Saturday to watch the FSU basketball team.
Let's start there then, shall we? Everybody, yeah. Florida State victorious on the hardwood. Corey, as he said, present and accounted for in that game. 80-71 win over Georgia Tech. Florida State led for over 39 minutes. The other 35 seconds of game clock, they were tied. So about as close to wire as you can get. They went, 48% from the field in the first half. On the day, they were plus 24 in the paint. Basong, McCray, Wiggins in double figures. Give us some nuance behind those numbers and such, Corey.
Yeah, Georgia Tech's awful. I don't quite know why they're so bad. I know that one of their best players got hurt earlier in the year and has been out for all but like 7 games, but they're really bad. But still, winning on the road when you're not a great team is never something that should just be dismissed or just diminished. Like, it's a road win. I think they've won four road games in a row in the ACC. I don't – maybe that 2020 team did that, but I don't remember a lot of Florida State basketball teams since I've been covering them won 4 straight ACC road games. Maybe the 19 or the 20 team did that, but that's hard to do. Now, it was Notre Dame, it was Virginia Tech, it was Georgia Tech, and it was somebody else.
Hey, we can't
Clemson.
beat Stanford in football on the road, buddy. We're not going to get picky.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, road wins are road wins. And they won at Clemson. They won at Virginia Tech. Clemson's a tournament team. Virginia Tech's a bubble team. So those are good wins. And what they did was, like, other than a weird last 3.5 minutes, last 4 minutes of the first half, they dominated that game. They were just much better. And that's good to see. They did what they were supposed to do. They didn't give Georgia Tech a lot of life except for a 6-minute window there at the end of the first half and the beginning of the second half. Their defense was good. They had 9 steals to Georgia Tech's 1. Brady actually brought that up because he's Brady. I told him to wait outside in the hallway while we did the press conference. And I was in the press conference, and he's like, you can't – he's like, nobody cares. And I'm like, man, this is not my place. This is a visiting venue. Yeah. It's not a professional look for the visiting media member. The only real visiting media well, really kind of the only media member there, period. There were like 4 of us in there, and I think 2 of them worked for Georgia Tech. It's not all that professional look for that guy that's only here once every couple of years to bring his son in. So anyway,
you talked about they're terrible at basketball. It wouldn't have been that big of an affront.
They just want people in the
some warm bodies. You know?
Yeah, they want to see more bodies. So anyway, so I see Luke and Chuck walking up the stairs, coming into the arena. I walk in with them. I sit down, get my phone out, get ready to record. And what do you know? Brady Clark comes strolling in.
Hell yeah!
At the end of the FSU contingent and sits down right next to me. They hand him a box score and he starts looking over it. And what he said was that, and he's like, man, because he was complaining about a question somebody asked. He's like, what he needed to ask was about the steals. Like Florida State had 9 steals, Georgia Tech only had 1. What was the difference there? And what I was bringing all that up for, they had 9 steals and they should have had 15. Like their hands were really, really active, and there were like 3 or 4 they just didn't catch. Cam Miles should have had 3 on his own that he just couldn't catch. But yeah, I just thought that they played with the requisite energy for the most part on both ends to do what they had to do and take care of business. They were only a 5.5 point favorite. It wasn't like they were favored by 17. And until I think Georgia Tech hit 3 threes in the final 90 seconds, they were up by 14 or 15 points, and they really put they tightened the screws when it was winning time in the final 5 or 6 minutes, and they've struggled to do that, mainly at home, but they've struggled to do that a few times. So again, really good to see. And I think the story of the game was Basong. His energy and just sheer athleticism that was a great thing. Sheer is a good word for me to say right now, right, Aslan?
Yeah,
with the mic situation going on. I hope everybody enjoyed that. If you can't tell, I have lost the little foam cover that goes on the top of my microphone.
It's called the pop filter. The
pop filter. So I'm not trying, but I should try to limit those kind of words that I'm saying. But anyway, Basong, that was so good to see, man. He was the best player on the floor. And he's got the ability to do that. He's a freshman. He's playing with a bunch of older guys. He plays a lot, but he's still finding his role. But as you move on to next season, and hopefully he's here, that game, that performance, the way he kind of dominated the paint, it was not just the most active player. I thought was the most physically talented player at that size to move like he did and to jump and grab rebounds and traffic like he did, especially offensively. Was really, really encouraging. So that to me was the main story. McCray's McCray. Nobody else really played all that well offensively, but they overwhelmed them really kind of just with their athleticism, with Basong and Swinton doing what they're supposed to do, being active, creating second chances, deflecting the ball, getting out on the break, doing what they're supposed to do. So it's good to see. And, Swinton and Basong are both coming back. Mm-hmm. Somerville didn't play well offensively, but he's coming back too. So, got a little things we think they're coming back. Got some things to build on.
The best I can find, Corey, is that they won 3 road games in a row back in the 1920 season, 2019-2020 season. They beat Louisville, Wake Forest, and Miami.
Okay.
But they did not win 4 road games at any point in that 26-5 run they had that season. I got it right.
Yeah, they won at Notre Dame, at Virginia Tech, at Clemson, and at Georgia Tech. They play at Pitt on Wednesday, so they can make it 5 in a row. And their last road loss was at SMU, which was 83-80. And then the game right before that, they won at Miami, which I don't know that anybody else has done in the league. Mm. So I don't know why they're such a good road team, and they don't seem to play all that well at home. But, next year they need to figure that out. But keep winning on the road. That's awesome. I wonder if what about the 19 season, Aslan? I'll look that up. You go to something else.
What are they right now? They're 5-5 on the road this year, 8-8 at home. So they played Indiana that year. I forgot about that in Assembly Hall.
Yeah, didn't play well either.
They did not. So as we sit here and talk, we have current seeding. As Corey mentioned, they got to play Pitt on the road. Then they finish the season out with a home game against SMU, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
If everything ended
this Saturday.
If everything ended this second, Florida State would be an 8 seed, which would get them a first round bye. They would take on 9 seed Cal, which is a team that they beat at the Tuck. So there's some familiarity there. Although I guess maybe Cal's kind of hit their stride here of late.
No, they just got blown out
Really?
at home by Pittsburgh.
All right, never mind then. Pitt's not good. It's not good. So
you know that for sure? Like, I know they're tied for 8th, but I don't know how the seeding would work right now.
this is according to our Barkley Truex over on 3. This was posted on Sunday, but it was posted.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So, yeah, they're in a 3-way tie for 8th with California, SMU, and SMU.
Yeah.
And they hold the tiebreaker over Cal. They don't hold the tiebreaker over SMU. So I don't know exactly how all that works.
SMU's 10th. So Florida State's 8th, Cal's 9th, SMU is 10th. So those 3 teams that are tied at 8-8 in conference, Florida State has the upper hand.
But I think if you're top 9, you get a bye. Like, I think the 10 seed has to play the first game.
They do.
The first day,
Correct.
maybe.
Correct.
So if you're thinking about, like, next week, like, I think if they get one more win, either if they win at Pitt, who again just played their best game of the year, or are home against SMU, and SMU's fighting for an NCAA tournament spot, so they're going to be really intent on trying to win that game. If you win one of those 2, I think you get a bye, which, look, again, the only way they can get to the NCAA tournament is to win the ACC tournament. Their best chance of doing that is not having to play every day. I'm not thinking they're going to win the ACC tournament. I'm not expecting that. Duke is incredible. They're very, very good. It's in Charlotte, so that's going to be a road game against Duke. So I'm not expecting that. I just want to celebrate the fact that this team was 0-5 in conference, and they're now
ugly 0-5.
Ugly 0-5, and they're now 8-8. That's just awesome, man. That's just awesome. It makes me believe in the future of this program to go along with that recruiting class they have coming in. We know this guy can adjust and coach a little bit now. We don't know if he can win without Robert McCray. I know that's a weird thing to say. But all these things, we also didn't know that he could win a single game in the ACC 7 weeks ago. Now he's 8-8. And, if you went from preseason expectations and then early season results, well, Luke would be a runaway winner for Coach of the Year with this turnaround they've done. It's not going to happen. You don't win Coach of the Year unless you're David Cutcliffe in football. You don't win Coach of the Year for kind of mediocre seasons. But I'm past that. I'm past the results. He's proven, this staff has proven they know what they're doing, and it's very, very encouraging and frankly pretty exciting that there's a chance, man. There's a chance this guy might be awesome, and get him good players, like really good players. Get him, and he gets to keep them for a couple years. Man, it could turn into something really fun.
I think they got 4 in a row back in 2018, 2019.
Yeah, I looked that up. They did. I didn't want to interrupt you, but they did win 4 in a row back then. I think it was the part of like a 8 or 9 game winning streak overall.
Yeah.
And that was the team that lost on the buzzer beater to Duke, the Cam Reddish buzzer beater.
Yep. Yeah.
And they lost the next game too. They really struggled out of the gates, and then they caught their stride, and that was just a bummer. I think that was the year they kind of all run together, but I think that was the year that
Played Jaw in Murray State.
Yeah, but Kofer's dad passed away, and then David Nichols got hurt, who was a very big part of that team. So you lost 2 key rotation members, and you had to go play a great Gonzaga team in the Sweet 16, and it didn't work out.
Did they make it to the? They make it to the conference championship game that year. They lost to Duke. It shows they played. That was the 3rd game they played.
Yeah, they lost to Zion in the championship game. They beat Virginia. Did Virginia end up winning the national championship that year? And I think Florida State was the last team to beat them.
Nice.
They beat them in the semifinals of the ACC tournament. And I think Virginia went like 33-2 that year. One of those losses was Florida State, baby.
Did we lose a Jose Alvarado in the conference championship game?
Yeah, Scotty Barnes. Yeah, Scotty Barnes year. That was a bummer. It could have been back-to-back ACC championships.
Could have.
Because they got credit for the ACC title in 2020, which they deserved. They won the regular season crown. But that would have been 2 ACC basketball championships in a row for Florida State, which would have been incredible. But no, they couldn't. They couldn't hold on to the ball because Alvarado kept swiping it from them.
All right. Well, swipe the ball with the tag. Apply the tag. Terrible segue. We're 0 for 2. We're 0 for 2 here, everybody. We're going to go to baseball now.
Oh, before we do baseball real quick, I did want to give a shout-out to because I know he's an avid listener. He's an avid listener. He has been since he was, I think, 12 years old. But Cam Miles, the point guard for Florida State.
Okay.
He got to play. He hadn't played in Luke even started his post-game press conference with that. There's 4 P's in a row for you there, Aslan. I hope you're happy with that one.
Appreciate it.
Pop. Talking about he didn't remember the last time Cam Miles played in the game, and I didn't either. He hadn't played a meaningful minute in a good long while, but Kobe McGee got hurt, and then Cam Miles came in, and I thought played, well. And he had been out of the rotation completely for 7 weeks. It happened to coincide with their better play. I'm not putting it on Cam, but it seemed like the coaching staff thought that Cam was not really ready for the league play, and they proved that by never playing him. But Luke said it wasn't just that Kobe got hurt, which was a bummer because McGee comes in, knocks down his first three. He had a pretty good game against Miami the game before where he knocked down a couple threes. You're like, okay, maybe they're going to get the Kobe McGee experience for a little while. He's actually going to make some threes. He knocks down his first three and then gets hurt and can't play anymore. But Cam Miles coming in and playing like he played, Luke said the reason they did it, he was already going to get minutes even before McGee got hurt because of how he'd been practicing. He said the last 2 practices or maybe the last week of I'm not going to use that word. Sorry, Aslan, trying to help everybody's ears. The last week of workouts, training sessions with the team, he had been the best player on the team. And it's like we're not going to have him play that well during the training sessions and then not reward him with playing time. With game time.
That's fine.
And yeah, it worked out, man. He certainly didn't embarrass himself. I thought he performed really well and something to move on moving forward because he's a guy that honestly I was like, well, he's gone after this year. He's played 8 minutes in ACC games. But maybe what happened in Atlanta is something for him to build on these next 2 or 3 games, how many more they have left in the season, and maybe he's somebody that – because he's talented, man, and he's got a lot of what for to him. He's talented. I don't know if he has a role on this team, but the way he looked on Saturday was really encouraging.
Right. While I do this read for the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, let me change strategy, Corey. It's the S's. It's a de-esser, the pop filters. It's the S's that are sizzling.
That's hard, man. That's hard. I will try.
Sizzling like the wings in the basket that comes out to you when you order over the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. 2475 Appalachia Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website. Don't forget, tomorrow, Tuesday, trivia night, 7 p.m. sharp. And of course, he's going to be there to defend his crown, so take advantage.
I will not. So everybody take advantage.
So take advantage of that. Take advantage of the delicious food, the daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., the weekday happy hour from 4 to 7 p.m. Watch the Noles there on Wednesday when they're taking on Pitt. You could say Pitt too, Corey. That'd be fine. SMU might be a trickier one. And then Thursday, as we all know, bingo, $1,000 up for grabs. There's pool tables, there's darts, there's a jukebox, there's TVs galore. It's the best place to be in Tallahassee. It's a Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. cptallybar.com, the website. Live music on the weekends. 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Time for a 1-year check-in with life as a Ridge wallet owner. So it's been strong to quite strong. I made it through a swampy summer. Didn't matter. Front pocket, not a problem. Blizzard winter. Thing was still mint condition. Got the Monaco white aluminum with the cash strap. Metal body, rock solid. The elastic cash strap has retained its shape and the spring it's got to it. And somehow Ridge is upgraded with a catalog featuring over 50 colors and designs, plus a 10% lighter wallet that maintains its RFID blocking technology that keeps your credit card secure from what we call unscrupulous actors. Try it and save $10 when you use promo code WAKEUP. No matter what you pick, Ridge has got free shipping, 99-day risk-free trial, and a lifetime warranty on all their products. Go to ridge.com/wakeup or use WakeUp at checkout at ridge.com to save $10 off your order.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Why would you wander around a warehouse store looking for paint when you could just swing by your neighborhood Ace? In addition to Ace's award-winning service, we have top-rated paint brands. Plus, our color matching technology allows us to match any color. So stop wandering and start painting. Head to your neighborhood Ace today.
In Crawfordville, your home convenience store is Ace Home Center and Napa Auto Parts, located at 2709 Crawfordville Highway. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Cummins. Follow CumminsLifestyle on Instagram. Baseball. They swept Citadel, but there was 0 style points really to it, it felt like, Corey. Maybe a little bit of Friday, seeing the way that Wes Mendez pitched 6 innings, only 1 earned run. Then John Abraham came on for a 3-inning save. When well, I shouldn't say Friday. That was the Saturday doubleheader, game one of the doubleheader on Saturday. And then they won 2-1 in extras in game two of the doubleheader on Saturday. The winning run was scored on an error, like an infield single error. So it was like, ugh. But they won. Beats the alternative. Trey Beard started game two of that doubleheader on Saturday. He went 5 scoreless. Kevin Meeble had 3 innings, didn't allow anybody on base. And then they went for the sweep on Sunday, which they got with a 2-0 win. Bryson Moore looked pretty strong, maybe his best outing since he's been here at Florida State, Corey. And I think Chris Kinnear might have had like the old 3-inning save on Sunday too. So the bats, though, I mean, to me, I know I just gave everybody a lot of pitching stats. You know, Gabe Frazier and Eli Putnam both had 2 RBIs in the game one win in the doubleheader. Other than that, though, few and far between any kind of offensive highlights. Not panicking, but very surprised that they haven't they weren't able to feast on a team like Citadel. But according to Ari on the telecast, they're considered one of the top 4 teams in the SoCon. So that's something.
Yeah. We'll do glass half full right now. The pitching was great. I mean, the starting pitching, especially the 17 innings and I think 1 earned run, maybe 0 earned runs, but I think 1 earned run out of 17 innings. Moore was as good as he's been. Beard with his first real start, it is his first start. I thought looked sharp and fine. And then, sorry with the word there I used, the first adjective. And then Mendez too looked just like himself. Like that's when you're moving forward. Maybe the strength of this team will be the guys that pitch to open the games. They have a name, but I'm not going to use it. But
starters.
But, yeah, the problem is it's the Citadel, and while they might be good for a Southern Conference team, they're not Clemson, and they're not Georgia Tech, and they're not Miami, and they're not Florida. So you're going to face better bats, and it's going to be harder to dominate better bats. So with that in mind, you have to take it with a grain of salt, right? Like, okay, yeah, you dominated Citadel, that's great, but that I don't know. But still, it's better than not looking good. Than not looking like they
losing,
yeah.
Like, but I think one of the runs they scored on Sunday was a pop fly that got lost.
Well, yes, they did. So Stutzer had an RBI double that was a pop fly that landed 15 feet behind the infield. Yeah. The shortstop lost it, and he was credited with a double. Credit to Eli Putnam for scoring all the way from first on a pop up with 2 outs. Now he's running, but you really have to bust it, and every fly ball that was hit on Sunday for some reason. A high sky, the sun positioning, I don't know.
Link even mentioned it. Yeah, you pointed out in the group chat, Corey, but Link even confirmed it. He was like, just for whatever reason, the ball was not flying the way it usually does at Housen.
But not only that, but it was getting lost in the sun. Like Sheffield had a ball hit off his chest. It went for a triple at first, and then they called it an error. But they pitched out of that because of horrible base running by the Citadel. But, yeah, man, like that, they only had 2 hits. So let's concentrate on that at first. Baseball – pitching matters more than anything. All 3 factors matter with the offense and the defense and the pitching, but pitching matters the most. And at least through 10 games, you like what you've seen out of the guys that open the games. Those guys, that looks like a nice trio, and it was good to see Beard and Moore, especially Moore getting his second start at Hauser, looking so much better, and Beard getting his first start, not being overwhelmed. Not that you should be by the Citadel, but it was a big crowd, first game on the home mound, and he looked like the guy they got. So maybe that's the strength of this baseball team is going to be that aspect. The problem is it's not going to be as good as last year's, right? Like last year's team had better guys than this. Yeah. Not because these guys aren't good, but Jamie Arnold and Volini are that's a better 1-2 than what you have now. So are you going to be able to have the same type of season if the strength is still that type of pitching, but you don't have as good as pitching? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
like
I'm with you.
I do worry about that because clearly, I don't think it's a panic button. This offense isn't remotely close to what they hoped it would be, or certainly to what last year's was. Like this is 10 games now. They have, I think as a team, do they have 7 home runs in 10 games? And 6 of them are by 2. Like Bailey has 4. DeLama Lear is second on the team in home runs, and he didn't play at all this weekend because he's in concussion protocol. So they're not showing any pop at all. And that's really concerning. But I will say this to give them another benefit of the doubt. Putnam and Carnes crushed balls on Sunday that I think at this time, the same time today, tomorrow, next weekend, this weekend coming up, they land in the parking lot or they hit off the one Carnes hits off the scoreboard. The one Putnam hits probably goes to the parking lot. My man hit it 107, 108 off the bat at a 30-degree launch angle, and it's caught at the wall. That's not normal. I don't know why the air was so heavy and the ball wasn't traveling, but it was not. Carnes hit one. He ended up getting a triple because it hit off the very top of the wall. But today is certainly a month from now, that ball is long gone. I think Stutzer hit a ball that goes out to center field. The center fielder made the catch of the year.
Yeah, they actually had a couple nice catches on Sunday,
yeah.
I think.
But that's why I don't give Stutzer too much grief for getting an RBI double on a pop-up because he got robbed of a ball that was tattooed. And the kid makes like a running over-his-shoulder diving catch at the track on a line shot by Stutzer. So they hit into some bad luck, too. Hit some balls right at him. Bailey had 2 outs on Sunday that were both over 107 miles an hour off the bat. Sheffield's done that more than once. So it wasn't like they were overmatched, right, Aslan? When you look at the strikeout numbers, I don't know what they were, but they didn't strike out a ton.
They did not.
They didn't. So, they hit the ball. They squared it up a good number of times, but ground balls or line drives, they're not lifting the ball when they square it up. And I don't know if that's something you teach or work on. I think it is, like working on launch angle. But they are barreling the ball a lot, I think. They just are not lifting the ball. So it's a lot of hard ground ball outs or singles. Like, you hit a 107-mile-an-hour ground ball to left field, great. It's a single. But if you had got it airborne, it would have been a 2-run homer. And I feel like the slugging with this team, other than Miles Bailey, is nowhere to be found. I think there's some pieces that it's in there, but through 10 games, they just haven't done a good job of extra base hitting at all.
Yeah. Busy week for the Noles. They've got 2 midweek games before their final non-con series of the weekend, Northern Kentucky. So they take on JU Tuesday, 5 p.m., Mercer Wednesday, 5 p.m. Then they get Northern Kentucky this coming weekend. So there you go. One last kind of warm-up, if you will, before the gauntlet starts. They'll have the Gators in a midweek next week, and then they head to Winston-Salem to take on Wake Forest for the ACC opener. But
they have real quick,
yeah.
But they have 7 home runs.
4 from Bailey, 2 from DeLamelier, and then who had the other one?
1 from Dowd.
Yeah.
And they have 25 extra base hits in 10 games. That ain't cutting it.
No.
That ain't, especially because they don't walk a ton. They've had a couple games where they walked a lot, like North Florida walked them a lot, but I don't know how many walks they drew on Sunday. Not many. They're up there hacking, and they're up there to do damage. Well, that's fine, but it's one thing with Lodis turning on a 0-0 fastball, or Ferreau or Max Williams or Tibbs and Cam Smith and Ferrer from the year before, but it's being aggressive and grounding out to third. It's not really the recipe. So maybe they change their philosophy if the slugging doesn't come. But it's too early to give up on that. But I definitely don't think it's too early to hit the panic button, man. Like that's maybe don't slam the panic button. But when you're slugging 401 as a team and you faced 8 not great teams, let's say 7. Let's give Michigan, Nebraska, and Auburn the benefit of the doubt. They're good enough. But the other 7 games, you should be slugging against those teams. And other than Miles Bailey, nobody else is slugging even above 440. He's slugging 700. And that's a very important stat, and hopefully it rises. I think they field the ball pretty well, though.
Yeah. I'll hover my finger over the panic button. Won't quite press it yet.
Smart. Yeah, let's not smash it. Even if there's no reason to smash it. Sorry.
No.
There's no reason to hit it. Hammer it. You can tap it, but don't hammer it because it is very early, and I do think there's some real talent here. DeLamelier helps more than I realized because he does have legitimate. Yeah, that power travels, and you need that in your lineup. It was good to see Putnam get some at bats and had some good. Like he had a hit on Sunday, and again he had a ball that has been a home run his whole life. That's just crazy. It died out there. So that he's in the mix a little bit. He still looks. He throws up some ugly at bats, but the fact that he can hit home runs, that's you need that in your lineup because you don't have a lot of it. So yeah, there was stuff to. And Chase Williams had a nice game on Sunday. Finally, he had 2 bunt hits. Aslan.
They were beautiful.
Yeah, he could have rolled them any better.
Yeah.
But and his speed. There's nobody else probably in the ACC. Certainly not on this baseball team that scores on that sac fly that Hunter Carnes hit.
Right. Yeah,
that was a
good.
short pop up to center. He scores pretty easily. When you only score 2 runs and one of them is on a pop fly with the bases loaded, that's speed, man. That's why he's in the lineup. It changes the game. And if they can just get him being, he hit 340 last year. He's not this guy, but he's just looked so bad that maybe the fact that he went 2 for 4, he didn't strike out. One of his outs was a line drive to center. He got on base. He felt productive. He scored some runs. That guy's a big piece of the lineup because if you're not going to slug and you're not going to hit 1,000 home runs, you're going to have to manufacture runs. And if he's on base, that is a manufacturing machine.
To softball we go now.
Okay. I didn't know we were going there. All right.
The Unconquered Invitational. Softball goes 4-0 on the long weekend. 12-3 run rule win over Florida Gulf Coast in Game 1 of a Thursday doubleheader. They then won 5-3 in Game 2. They had another doubleheader on Saturday against Rutgers. They won 2-0, 5-1. Beecham had a walk-off 2-run homer in that 2-0 Game 1 win on the front half of the doubleheader Saturday against Rutgers. Jazzy Francic credited with 2 wins. McKenna Reed had 2 innings of shutout relief. Kennedy Harp, 5-12, 5 ribbies. Beecham Heller also had strong weekends. Corey, Florida State softball currently sits at 17-4. And they're still about another week or so away from starting their conference slate. But no Issa Torres, and they still were able to get some offense. Obviously run rule, and then, had 5 runs in 2 of the other games. So Beecham Heller stepping in, and then obviously Harp.
Yeah, Harp is the biggest news. Again, she's an All-American. She's one of the best players in the country. She's proven that. She proved it last year. Not having her for the first 10 or 12 games, especially when you played the talent that they played down in Clearwater. And I think she played a little bit against Alabama, maybe. But yeah, they faced some real teams, and they didn't have their best out there. Having Harp back is a enormous deal. Now you got to get Issa back. I think it's concussion protocol. I hope. If I'm remembering the play correctly, I don't know. Hopefully we'll find that out soon, that she'll be back in the lineup because, again, she's hitting 500. She is one of the best players in the country. She's one of the best players you've ever had. You need her because if you get Issa Torres to go along with Hart coming back and hit her first home run, look more and more like herself, and Beecham looks like freshman Beecham. She's hitting right now. I know, long season, but through 21 games, Jasony, is hitting 423 with 4 homers and 21 RBIs, 9 extra base hits. She's got a 587 on base percentage, which is nuts because she has 20 walks and has struck out 4 times. Is that good? 20 walks and 4 strikeouts. A 5-to-1 walk to strikeout ratio is insanity, especially considering the arms that they faced already. It's just nuts. She's awesome. So you have 3 awesome players, and these freshmen are really starting to grow into themselves, and the pitching looked good. But again, it's a long season. ACC starts coming up here, like you said, in a couple weeks. Good to see McKenna Reed have a couple really important outings, and it was cool that Beecham got a moment like that to hit a walk-off. But yeah, they're good. Got to get Issa back, though. She's everything to that team.
Next up for Lonnie and the ladies, JU also coming to town Wednesday, 4 p.m. So you can catch some of that and then go to Hauser, or just stay and watch the whole thing, then go to Hauser and get you some more. Be remiss, Corey, if we didn't talk about track.
Yeah.
15th ACC indoor title, first since 2020. Shot to Durian Moss, the MVP for the men. He won the 60-meter dash in 6.6 seconds.
Yeah.
Andre Korbmacher set a PR in the 60 hurdles. He placed first, 7.55 seconds. For the ladies, Shanice Walker was the MVP. She won both the 60 and the 200-meter sprints. She set a meet record, 7.13 in the former. Blazing.
I need to look at her bio, but I got to imagine, because she was awesome last year too. Like, it feels like she's probably a future Olympian. and maybe the kid that won the 60 is too. I mean, when you're winning the ACC 60s or the 100, I think she won the 100 and 200 last year at the ACCs. You're one of the best in the world by default. You just are. And I wonder if she's got a chance to maybe run in LA in the 28 Olympics, because that would be awesome. That's really cool. And yeah, man, it was funny. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't typically watch track on my ESPN3 app. That's not something I do. But it was like Thursday. I just happened to see there was nothing else on. I was bored because who wants to work right in the middle of the day? So I'm like, I'll tune into the ACC track events, and it was the long jump without commentary, but they were showing all the jumps. And I think the Florida State kids finished one finished third, another one finished fifth or seventh, and they racked up some points there. And I'm like, man, remember back, Corey? Hey, Corey, you remember back when Florida State track was awesome and they would rule this league? It's like, when did those days happen? And then stop paying attention to it for the rest of the weekend. And then 2 days later, I found out the men just won the ACC track championship. I had no idea they were even in contention. Now, a lot of those events hadn't taken place yet on Thursday, but I didn't know they had the weapons to compete like that. But yeah, man, and Mekhi Danzy wasn't even a big part of it.
He was not.
Like, I think he finished fifth in the 400. He was part of the 4x4 team that finished third. So those are points, and they all matter. But Danzy clearly isn't right yet. Those aren't the numbers that he was putting up last year, because he was running like sub 45 last year. So maybe he's working himself back into he'll be better in the outdoor season, but he still got points for the team. But he wasn't even the fastest 400 guy on the Florida State team this year in the ACC championships. But yeah, that's awesome. It would be cool. It was really neat when Florida State was good at track. I like covering those events. So hopefully we're back.
Yeah, so Shanice Walker was All-ACC first team in 2024. Indoor, she was first team outdoor All-ACC last year. She's the ACC holder in the women's 60. She's a school record holder in the women's 60. She's good. She's real good. Instant gratification society these days, right? But not necessarily a bad thing. We want results. We want good results. We want those good results fast. Brunt Workwear has been committed to crafting quality workwear that looks great, is tailored for life on the job site, and it's ready to go out the box with unmatched comfort. No break-in period needed. Brunt offers a full range of high-performance gear built for the tough jobs. From heavy-duty work pants to weather-resistant jackets, Brunt designs durable, reliable workwear that keeps you protected and productive in any condition. Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting corners, so they built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. For a limited time, our listeners get $10 off at bruntworkwear.com when you use the promo code WAKEUP at checkout. $10 off with promo code WAKEUP at bruntworkwear.com. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant is presented by Cummins. Follow CumminsLifestyle on Instagram. Cummins, portable, reliable power. Been doing it for a long, long time, like over 100 years. If you got an RV, if you got a boat, just got a truck and you want that portable power, man, get a Cummins Onan generator. They're the best. Let's give people some football, Corey. They made it this far. Talk a little bit about linebacker, Corey. You're going to be working on a linebacker story. We'll have somewhat of an accompanying video. It's going to be kind of what we talked about last week, and you really gushing about Chris Jones. I imagine that's probably a large part of what you feel good about this linebacking core is him, but agree, disagree. So I did the video, and I'm a TV guy, so I'm always trying to, market and use alliteration and find cool things to, give some more pizzazz to things. So I'm like, it feels like they kind of have like a core four, if you will. It felt like Bayor, Omar Graham, Chris Jones, Blake Nicholson. That feels kind of like what they're going to be relying on mostly.
Yeah.
And then I put some X factors. Caleb LaValle, just because they apparently really liked him a lot last year and he got injured, leg injury, and missed the entire season. Had a really good bowl game at the end of the 24 season at North Carolina. And then Isaiah Williams, who was the number 7 linebacker from the high school ranks this past cycle. I mean, he had been committed and uncommitted, but he ends up picking Florida State. So it felt like those 6 guys kind of where you're going to be at linebacker. And I don't know if I feel better about this unit now than I did, Elijah Herring and Stephon Thompson and some of that, more of the experience they kind of had last year. Where are you at? And do those sound like the 6 main candidates, or was there anybody I forgot?
No, I think that there might be somebody you forgot, but I mean, Omar Graham and Blake Nicholson have a ton of experience. Bayor and Jones do too. So I feel like those are the 4 guys. You didn't bring those, especially Jones. You didn't bring him in not to play. I think Nicholson and Graham they like enough. It'd be nice if Omar Graham was fully healthy to see what that looks like. It'd be nice to see Blake Nicholson bigger. And again, I want to stress this. I thought about this a couple times this weekend. Like, me commenting on body types of dudes that would throw me into a trash can and roll me down a hill is bizarre, right? It's kind of it's a weird lot I found myself in life, that I comment on somebody the size of Blake Nicholson.
6'3", 224.
Who is stronger than anyone I know in my life. And bigger and more put together than anybody I've ever been friends with in my life. And I've had a long life. For me to say he's not big enough, it's just an odd thing we live with, but it's the truth.
There was discourse this past week, Corey, during the NFL Combine that somebody said, if you can't bench 135, you shouldn't be allowed to cover football. And then
that was it was Russillo. He was making fun of somebody on Barstool. They did their own combine, I think, last year, and it was 135. How many reps could you do? Was their bench equivalent of 225? Right. And one of the guys couldn't do it at all, and the guy was on Russillo's show and brought it up. And Russillo's like, "Man, look," he goes, if you're 135, you shouldn't be able to comment on anything, not just sports, like anything. So I was like, yeah. So and I luckily I can do that. Yeah. But because I'm incredibly strong.
Yes, sir.
Size,
pound for pound, man. The bulldog.
But that's right. But he's a big dude for Earth. Right. And he's incredibly strong for people walking the earth. But for a college football linebacker going into year 4, I just don't think he's big enough. I'd like to see him bigger. I don't know how much bigger. I don't even know what that even looks like. To me, this past year, Blake Nicholson looked about the same size he did in the Orange Bowl. I know that's not true.
But is he getting pushed around? I don't disagree with you, but where is the deficit? Like, is he getting pushed around? Is he getting lost in the wash? Like, it feels like he can. Okay, I mean, I don't know.
That's what I think. Yes,
okay.
I think that he gets knocked out of the way a little too easily. He gets pushed out of the gap a little too easily sometimes, or he tries to use his athleticism to take on a block and go around it instead of wear it. And when you wear it and you engage the lineman, then that frees up somebody else to make a tackle, but he knows that he's going to wear it from a 330-pound guy, and that's not fun. Again, that's easy for me to say. Just put your nose up in there, man. And this goes for a lot of, lesser-sized, undersized linebackers. They like to use their athleticism to run around blocks and not take on blocks because they think they can go make the tackle that way, and sometimes it works out, and they get a 5-yard tackle for loss. Other times they get out of position, and it's a 12-yard run up the middle. Because we knew he was kind of not light, again, but I don't know what he was when he got here.
Trim.
I feel like he was 210, listed at like 210 or 208, and I would have thought by this time now he'd be 240. Now, maybe they don't think he could carry the weight well, and this is way too much about Blake Nicholson's weight anyway. I've talked way too much about it, but I think he can be a real player if he can keep that same athleticism and put on legitimate strength and muscle to take on and be one of the stronger guys on the field too, not just one of the most athletic, because he definitely has the athleticism for it. It hasn't materialized into a ton of plays yet. He's had moments where he's played, I think, very good college football, and he can play at this level. He's proven that. He just needs to be more consistent, just like Omar Graham. But if you're asking me what gets me more excited about the linebacker, it's what I was talking about last week. It's Chris Jones. Yeah. Again, they don't. They haven't had a guy like this in a while. He is a certified tackling machine. The last guy they had like this was Bethune, who was he's an NFL player. Yeah. These guys, man, that you think about, if all you old Florida State fans, you think about the guys that have come through the program that just showed that knack for making tackles, just were always around the football, would have 10, 12, 14 tackle games. Every single one of them, Vince Williams, Telvin Smith, Ernie Sims, go back to Marvin, obviously, Derek Brooks, Tatum Bethune.
Paul McGowan.
They find their way to the league.
Yeah.
They go to the league, and you have not been blessed with a lot of NFL caliber linebackers the last few years. Obviously, Bethune is. Deloach, I thought, would have been. I don't know why he isn't, but he was good. But other than that, it's been pretty bare. The cupboard has been bare at that position. Chris Jones is the best you've had in a while, and I think just by guys watching him work, watching him watching him on the practice field, maybe watching him in the weight room, because good grief, you talk about what would he. If Blake Nicholson can throw me in a trash can and roll me down a hill, Chris Jones would break me in half. Like literally it'd be like what is it? Fatality in Mortal Kombat. He just ripped my heart out.
Finish him.
Yeah. I mean, there'd be no chance. And I can't outrun him either. So that's what gets me the most excited. You've got some real experience, and unlike Herring, who was an older guy, and Stephon Thompson, who was coming off an injury and it took him a while to get right. I thought he was better at the end of the year, obviously. Chris Jones is bona fide. He is legit. He is an SEC caliber starting linebacker, and I think he will be one of the best players on the football team. And it's good to have that at that position, because that has not been the case. When was the last time a linebacker was one of the best players on Florida State's football team? Like one of the 5 best players.
Oh.
When would that be?
Maybe Ernie?
Timmons?
Yeah.
Timmons probably. He was an outside backer. He wasn't like the tackling machine type guys, but he was really good. He was one of the 5 best on that 06 team. So I'm trying to think, because Telvin was awesome, but
that team was really awesome.
Yeah, maybe he was one of the 5 best there in 2013. But you could split hairs there. It is either way. It's been a long time, and it's cool to know that they went and got one of the better guys available at that position.
Yeah. If you want to be glass half empty. Not really even half empty, but all the linebackers they have literally graded out at 67 last year. Bayor and Jones graded out at 67.1. Omar graded out at 67.6, and Blake Nicholson also graded out at 67.6. Can't make this stuff up. It's crazy. But again, 60 is kind of like your baseline, so you want to be above that. So they are above that. That is crazy to see Chris Jones grading that low, considering he was in on 130 something tackles. But I'm not breaking down the film and grading people. Did you talk at all about jacks in your preview, Corey, or did you leave that for whoever's going to do the defensive line preview? Because
I did not.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, we'll leave that for the defensive line preview. But yeah, I mean, you'll see it on the video that's going to be dropping later today on YouTube. Some other names and faces to know as we dig deeper into the roster as we get closer to spring football, which is going to start in a week from now, I think, right, Corey? Next Monday?
March 9th, right?
Yeah. It's almost here, everybody. So let's talk about receiver then, Corey. We started this entire thing over at warchant.com with the position previews like almost 2 months ago now. And I think we started off with receivers because, I don't know, think about DB. I think DB and receiver are your 2 best position groups. And if you want to, I'm clustering in cornerbacks and safeties. And for, conversation purposes here, we'll just have pass catchers. So maybe if you compare receivers to the cornerbacks, probably receivers, but if you compare pass catchers to the entire defensive backfield, I think maybe the defensive backfield gets a slight edge. But, they obviously have Deuce Robinson coming back, who was phenomenal. 56 catches, 1,081 yards, 6 touchdowns. 6 foot 6'2", 223. He's got to be one of the 5 best receivers coming back this season. I know Cam Coleman's a name I know. Jacoby Lane from USC is one of the top guys out there. I just don't know
any. The guy from Ohio State's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And the guy from Miami is pretty good.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree. I mean, he's in the conversation as one of the 5 or 6 or 7. Wasn't he first team All ACC?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. So him and Malachi Toney are the 2 best guys coming back in the ACC. Cam Coleman's good, but he didn't put up Deuce's numbers. Now, again, I'm not saying Deuce is going to be drafted higher than him, but yeah, if you look on production, along with just big playability, man. Yeah. Like, I think Deuce was top 5 in the country in yards per catch, even with that number of catches. Top 5 in the Power 4. Like, it's just a shame, and hopefully it doesn't happen this year, that when you're not on a good team, that stuff gets kind of lost. But he's the best returning receiver they've had since Rashad. Like a guy that you knew was going to put up numbers. They haven't had a guy coming back like this since Rashad.
I don't know. What about Tamorrion Terry? I know it didn't work out well, but I think we felt good about him going into 2020 coming off what he did in 19.
Yeah, that's probably a fair point. But still, I think I feel better about Deuce than I did Tamorrion Terry. If that makes sense. I mean, I might be wrong, but I feel stronger about Deuce's ability, about his pro projection, about what he can do for an offense than I did about Tamorrion Terry. And I was a huge Tamorrion Terry fan, mainly because they had nobody else on the team that could do anything. It's like, just throw it up to him 3 times a quarter. Yeah. What's the worst that can happen? Yeah. But that's cool, man. It's cool that you have what I think, again, should be one of the better linebackers in the conference. And I do think, other than Tony, and Tony, yes, he's a wide receiver, but he's like a Swiss Army knife, man. He's not a prototypical wide receiver because they do so many things with him, wildcat, motion, all that stuff, the end arounds. Just straight up prototypical out wide receiver. Deuce is the best in the conference coming back. Yeah. Again, 2 good places to start. Good linebacker, good wide receiver. We've been lamenting both for a good long while that they don't develop guys here at both of those positions, along with the offensive line. Well, along with a lot of stuff here lately. It's cool to know that you have 2 potential superstars. And Chris Jones, I'm probably over my skis a little bit because he did it at Southern Miss. He hasn't done it at this level. I'm just a believer in that kid. But Deuce, I'm not over my skis at all. This guy's one of the best, as Aslan said, one of the best wide receivers in the United States.
And then, obviously, you got Mekhi Danzy, his big playability, whether it's running vertical or the jet motion stuff they like to run. The really interesting thing here, I'm going to change my mind now. I'm going to go defensive backfield is, when you look at the depth chart, Deuce is he's the best player on the team. But when we talk about, depth, I love Deuce, love Danzy. Yeah. We'll see about Boggs, man. I know we heard all the good things about him last season, and it just never materialized, and he got hurt and had a bit of an emergency scare there in Raleigh. But, after Deuce, Mekhi, and Boggs, you're talking about redshirt freshman, true freshman. You're talking about Tayshawn Gelsey, Tariq Mallory, Devin Carter, Brandon Bennett, Jason Lopez, EJ White, Darian Williams. So there's not a lot of established playmakers there. So Boggs is that kind of that middle ground, if you will, between a guy that's been here, hasn't maybe done a lot, but apparently showed promise of this coaching staff. Really curious to see how he performs. I don't know what kind of harbinger or bell cow or bellwether he'll be for the offense core, but I don't know, with Mike running the show on offense, is it that much more important for them to have that third receiving target from the slot, do you think?
Yeah, man, because he's going to play him. So unlike Malzahn, who he'd play one wide receiver if he could. I do think Norvell's he likes to play a lot of receivers. Portier got a lot of run even when they had Keon and Johnny Wilson. Yeah. So he's going to play guys. So you hope Boggs is the guy. And there's nothing that makes us think he isn't, other than, he didn't do anything last year. But he was hurt. He did start opening game against Alabama. And the offensive coaches, there's a lot of veterans on that staff that know what they're looking at typically.
Got open on that drive.
They deemed him good enough to start against Alabama in those other games until he got hurt. So I believe in him. I believe in his ability. I don't think these players are making it up, but he's got to go do it. He's got to go do it under the lights and then build upon it, because it's almost like he's having a whole brand new freshman year again. But yeah, and Danzy's got to get better. He should. That's the whole point. But hey, man, is he slowing down? Mekhi, you're supposed to get faster, buddy. You're supposed to be the fastest player in the country. So I like that trio. You're going to need at least one of the young guys, the unproven guys, to step up. But that's not asking a ton, is it? Is it?
Yeah, I don't know how many teams out there feel really good about 5 receivers, right? I think a lot of teams probably are, like Miami, right?
Right.
They obviously really like what they got with Malachi Toney, but other than that,
the kid from Duke.
Well, yeah, the guy. Never mind.
That's
I
nice.
forgot about that one.
He's good.
That's nice.
But yeah, they're set with those two, but they're also expecting some guys that haven't done anything yet to do it at this level, and that's what needs to happen here. Again, what I did like last year, if there was any silver lining, it was that they did have freshmen contribute, and freshmen proved that they can play at this level. I'd like to see that again with
different OC,
with some of the young guys.
Different OC though, Corey. How much of that was?
No, but it's still the guys that he thought were good enough to be on the team, even if you don't trust Norvell's evaluation skills at all.
Well, not just evaluation, but just being able to get guys to digest it and figure it out quickly.
Yeah, but
right?
I'm talking about. I mean, the wide receivers they didn't though. I'm talking about that strictly that position. I think Tim Harris. I trust this coaching staff, this current incarnation of the coaching staff, more than I did the one from 2023 and 2022 when it comes to evaluating high school kids. So you've got 32 high school kids coming in. I don't remember how many receivers. What'd you say? 2, 3? 2 or 3 freshman receivers that are coming in. One of those should be able to play immediately. That is not asking a ton.
4. Really?
Yeah, right. Yeah. One of those guys should be able to play immediately. Boggs was able to last year. We both think LaWayne McCoy would have been the year before if he could have stayed healthy. If they can get one of these freshmen to prove they're good enough this spring, and what do you know, maybe stay healthy. That's allowed too. It'd be nice to have 4 or 5 guys that you can really count on because he's going to rotate them, and you don't want to. There's always going to be a big drop off from Deuce to whoever's on the field for him those 8 plays, but from 3 to 4. There shouldn't be much of a drop-off. You should have some guys that you can rotate in that you feel like, okay, if he catches the ball in space, number one, he can make somebody miss a tackle, and he can turn a 19-yard gain into a 60-yard game-changing play. You're at Florida State, man. You're a wide receiver at Florida State. Go change a game. Right now they got 2, right? Danzy and Deuce we know can change games. The other 8 on the roster, let's hope that 3 of those guys can prove that they're worthy to be Florida State wide receivers.
Tight end, I don't know. Do you think Desiree Rouse, Landon Thomas, Chase Lofton, kind of your perhaps dark horse?
And we think Lofton's a tight end.
That's what we listed him as in our Warchant.com preview.
Yeah, it's kind of odd with them. I don't.
6'6", 220. Speaking about gaining
like
weight.
They like him. I don't know if he's. We'll see. Hopefully, we'll get to see some practice or 3. I think we probably expect to talk to Norvell before spring practice starts. So would that be at the end of this week or next week? So we'll. I'm genuinely interested in what they plan on doing with Lofton because that was a guy they loved. He was Norvell. He was Norvell's favorite recruit from last year's class, and he didn't do anything. Again, injured, didn't play much, but. Not the Desirs, not Arnaud, not Boggs. It was Lofton was the guy he talked about the most when he was talking to us about that high school signing class. So there is some stuff in that kid, and it would be really nice if he, reached at least halfway up his potential tree this year.
Trying to see who Yeah, you're right. You said that the other day. I'm like, no, he wasn't. But yeah, Cam McDonald was still here in 2022. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, man, making plays. I think he was making plays. I think he caught a touchdown in the Cheez-It Bowl, maybe.
He had one touchdown. I thought Biscuit had a big Cheez-It Bowl.
You're right. It was Biscuit. Yeah. I thought Cam McDonald had a big play in that game. I could be wrong though. Remember back then, Norvell would scheme up. I do want people to remember that because nobody's high on Mike Norvell right now. But go back and watch some of the replays from 2022 and 2023. Like those screens he would scheme up. Where like Cam McDonald wouldn't even have somebody near him for 19 yards. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's nobody even in the screen with him. And sometimes it felt like, okay, well, you got as little out of that as you could have. Not necessarily Cam McDonald, but on a lot of those screens, it's like, well, the first guy near you tripped. But, man, you've got some skill guys now, and this dude, if nothing else, can set up some screen passes that go for long ways. Now, it's more fun to throw screen passes to Trey Benson and Jaheim Bell. But, I think he's got some guys this year with Danzy, with the running back room, maybe with the tight end room, maybe with the great Chase Lofton, where those screens that were really big hit and with the Florida State fan base a few years ago will make a welcome return.
Yeah, I'm going to keep using 22 as like the rubric or whatever. I think Landon Thomas and Desiree Rouse are equivalent to Cam McDonald and Biscuit in 2022. So, if you look at the receivers, Johnny had 897, Pokey had 495, Micah Pittman had 330.
Yeah. Micah Pittman.
Yeah.
I like Micah Pittman, man. He's going to get lost in the shuffle because this thing fell off a cliff, but he was a really important part of the initial climb, I should say. because he had 330 yards. That's 33 yards. That's like 30 yards a game. So it was not a big part of the offense. But he caught most every punt, which was nice. Remember that, everyone? Yeah. He did catch every punt. And his toughness and his ability to block and be a selfless player, even though he came here to put up big numbers and it didn't seem to ever impact his attitude at all in how hard he played and how hard he blocked. That was something that those are good for those. That's good things for teams. It's good culture builder. Yeah. And of course, everything imploded after 2 years after he left. But yeah, it's a bummer. But I hope people remember him fondly, even though he did leave to go to Utah.
Also, after he got a surgery paid for, apparently he helped. Apparently he helped Johnny. He was part of the pitching Johnny Wilson to come to Florida State too. So that was obviously a big net positive. So that's a wrap for us. We're done. So we're going to speak to a last batch of newcomers on Wednesday. Maybe we'll speak to coaches on Friday. There's a possibility that we usually have that pre-spring luncheon where we hear from Norvell before spring starts, and day one's going to be on Monday, so I don't think they're going to do it on a weekend, but who knows? Stranger things have happened before. So we are so close to football. You made it all the way to the end of the show. We rewarded you with some football.
Shout out, by the way, the women's basketball team finished off the regular season with a road dub in overtime against Wake Forest.
Yeah, good.
I believe that makes them now 10-20 on the year. It's been ugly. 5-13 in the league, but I do think they qualified for the ACC tournament. Now, obviously, I should know. It's not really my job, but still, I should know. But they did finish off the regular season with a road win. They didn't get many wins at all this year, so that was a nice dub for them to close it out.
We're done, but never over at warchant.com. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock. Warchant.com around the clock. Be on the lookout for Corey's preview story on the linebackers with a bit of a deeper dive.
Yeah, now I have to write it.
Yeah.
Because we talked about me writing it so much that I got to text Ira and be like, hey, I'll take the linebacker preview because Aslan is forcing my hand.
Look at that. Sorry, everybody. And there'll be many more position previews to look at and go through before we get to spring football. So subscribe to the YouTube page, everybody. Hit the thumbs up as well. We appreciate it. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant. He's Corey Aslan. Wake Up Warchant presented by Cummins. Follow Cummins Lifestyle on Instagram.